Hey guys, welcome back. In today's video, we are talking about why AMC should be a $2,000 stock, paying off the debt, the AMC gamma squeeze loading, and many more in this video. Now, first we're taking a look at this. AMC is a $2 stock, but it should be a $2,000 stock. Now, the big reason for this is because of what AMC goes through. The stock remains suppressed, dark pool trading on some days exceeds 85% of volume most weeks, and AMC flatlines for hours despite large volumes. On Friday, it usually trades at max pain. There has been significant call buys lately, not likely retail. Movie box office is solid this year. Last quarterly earnings was impressive. AA bought shares in the last few weeks. Now, already here, it sums up what AMC goes through. It sums up the real value that AMC should have, but has not yet seen. Now, everyone would have a different price target, a different understanding of where AMC should be, but the one agreement we are all going down to is that because of the suppression, AMC is heavily undervalued. And we talk about even just recently what has happened. We're talking about the significant call buys that's been ongoing. We talk about how well the box office is improving, how much is booming. We talk about the last quarterly earnings, how good that was, and the fact that Adam Aaron has bought more shares of AMC. Now, these are just some of the few things that has happened very, very recently. We haven't even talked about over the last few years what AMC has done. We're not even talking about the debt restructuring and what the future debt restructure and paying off that could be. So there are so many things ongoing right now. And so to talk about AMC being heavily undervalued, that is what we all agree. Of course, everyone has different price target, but you can understand why we think that AMC should be way higher than where we are right now. And you can also see that will be 250 to 300 now, because 8 to 10 years ago, there wasn't any chatter, popularity, merch, popcorn bucket, and the stock was trading $25 to $30 a share. Now the entire planet buys shares, news, social media accounts talking about AMC, but yet we're trading at 187. And it goes on to talk about the kind of disparity between the price it was 10 years ago, and the price it is now. Again, we know the reason for this is because of what we've said, 85% of volume in the dark pool, because of the fact we're seeing suppressed, because we are seeing it again trying to be pushed below max pain. But it really goes on to kind of solidify why we all believe it's undervalued. And to talk about why institutions are willing to continuously accumulate AMC, why everyone thinks right now the biggest potential, one of the biggest investments you can make is in AMC because of where it was, because of where it is now, and what it means for the future as well of AMC, how we're able to see it grow, how we're able to see it kind of really boom. And when you talk about everything that's ongoing right now, especially with the gamma exposure from all of these large calls being bought, you are looking at opportunities, whether it's short-term or long-term. Even some of the recent short-term opportunities has been the fact that we saw AMC go from 0.93 all the way up to that 194, and when it dipped, we saw it go from the low of 124 all the way up to that high of 222. So these are just some of the opportunities we have seen in the very, very short term. Bear in mind, this started at the start of April, and so in a matter of 2 months, we have seen the opportunity there is. And this is a very small scale of what the opportunities would be going into the long term, but it's for me to highlight why people are constantly eyeing up AMC, why people are constantly trying to accumulate as much AMC, because the opportunities are there. And one of the biggest things right now in terms of why people buy into AMC is important, and why the shorts have constantly tried to suppress AMC is because of this. AMC at a mere $25 per share can offer and get rid of all debt easily gone, and still well below the 1.1 billion authorized. So with box office booming and other revenue lines raking cash, they may not even need to offer. So this is the opportunities that AMC has right now. Now, firstly, we have to understand, this isn't to say that AMC is going to do another offering, but it isn't to say that they will never do an offering. But when we talk about how well AMC is doing right now, when we talk about the opportunities and the potential there is for AMC right now, it already lies there that they are able to make a very large amount of revenue and therefore convert it to a very big profit margin. Now, the thing with this is that they can now obviously use that to pay off the debt. But what would easily accelerate them, what would easily get rid of not only the debt problems, but allow buybacks, allow dividends, allow a big investment into infrastructure, would be if AMC were able to see even slight price discovery. So going from where we are right now to $25 to $10 to $50 and then do an offering them, you can see how easily that they are able to raise money to then pay off the debt and of course do what we said, dividend, buybacks, and many more. And this has always been one of the biggest reasons for why you see the suppression on AMC, because they realize what AMC is capable of. They realize what the apes are incapable of, and that's the important part. Because they know how strong we, the apes, are, they know the constant pressure we have applied on them, and that's why they are afraid, because they've realized that if AMC get rid of all negative sentiment, and we're talking about the buybacks of shares, we're talking about the debt problems, when they get rid of all of this, there wouldn't be a single point they can make about AMC. And that's when the whole world will be looking at into buying AMC. And that's what they're afraid of. And that's why they're trying to prevent AMC from going even slightly up in price, so that they are trying to then to obviously raise the money. And this is what we've said, short sellers and AMC haters are finally realizing something simple. Movie drives people to theaters, and the world's largest movie theater chain is AMC. So when theaters are packed and hit movies keep dropping, AMC makes money. And it's why we've been looking at the box office, why we talk about the recovery of the box office is so important, because we have to understand the biggest benefactor of the box office booming is AMC, because we own the most amount of theaters that are out there. We are seeing the largest amount of traffic and audience attendance towards AMC. What's even more important is the fact that right now we know that the people who want to watch movies want premium theaters, and that's exactly what AMC has been focusing on. And so that's how we know that when people are driving to theaters, they're very likely driving to an AMC. And when we see this, we know that AMC is making money, because it isn't just with ticket prices that we're making money. Remember, we talked about the merchandise. Remember, we talked about the concessions. All of these things are extremely important for AMC, and people are starting to realize this right now. When you take a look at some of the filings for AMC, you're starting to see that people, institutions are willing to drop a large amount to buy as many shares of AMC as they can, because they've realized the potential that we have right now. And you can see pandemic is gone since long, but in a societal sense, recovery happened only recently, e.g. in the movie theaters boom. AMC has now entered thriving mood, and I'm confident thrive means something beyond Wall Street's wildest nightmare. So when you take a look at how big truly the box office has been, we have been seeing it. Now, over the last few months, even the last few years, we've seen steadily how the box office was getting bigger and recovering. But this year, we are really seeing that happen. We are really seeing a major increase. And it's why we were able to see the May attendance record being broken, and we were able to see AMC thrive off of this. And it's going to continue to do so, because on top of what we've seen with the box office, remember this. So all the major theater executives were fuming, with one of them calling Adam Aaron a clown for being the only one which with decades of cooperation broke rank to back Ellison and Paramount. So something tells me all the other theater exhibitor CEOs will now be rushing to Ellison and Paramount with bouquets of flowers and apology cards. Now, here it's just talking about what AMC has. We talk about the partnership that Adam Aaron is trying to make, that he's willing to go out of the rank to make these cooperations, to make these collaborations. We'll talk about the potential partnership with Netflix as well. All of these things are done by AMC, by Adam Aaron right now. So not only are we having the majority market share, but we are also having opportunities where other competitors are not able to do so. And this is why I've said that AMC is going to do extremely well. When you take a look at the box office, we can see is that we'll be sitting at 2.147 billion, because over the weekend, we saw 65 million on Friday, 66 million Saturday, and 48 million Sunday. Right now, we're seeing 269 million June to date, 2.175 billion Q2 today, 3.901 billion year to date. So this is the strongest start to the Q2 and the year post-COVID. So this is how we know that the box office is booming. It's not just some sort of things that we are saying, but it's the statistical fact that the box office is booming. And we understand from AMC's infrastructure, we understand how well they've improved themselves, that they are taking the most opportunities from this. And ultimately right now for the Q2, we can see the elusive 3 billion quarter now rests in the hands of Toy Story 5. Now I want to talk about how important 3 billion Q2 would be, because not only would it have a major short-term impact on the earnings of AMC for Q2, but we know that if the box office is able to reach 3 billion, and knowing that the majority of the yearly box office comes from Q3 and Q4, you can then imagine just how big that will be. And so that's why we're keeping a close eye to as whether or not we are able to see this. And even with this right now, Toy Story 5 is projected 310, but we can understand how it can go even bigger than that. And when we talk about how strong the apes have been, you can see that AMC is now trading and trending. And what we can see right now is that it's very likely a mix of, firstly, the apes who have continuously supported AMC, and for that, everyone should congratulate themselves. But secondly, we are also seeing people who are willing to be going to AMC right now, who are searching for theaters and more specifically searching for AMC. And that already is a very good sign of how AMC is doing extremely well. Now, when we talk about the AMC Gamma Squeeze, you can see here, huge call buys flooding the $2 strikes. We have the June 2 open interest at 127,000. The July $2 just surged by 55,000 contracts. The call volume is dominating with tiny put to call ratio. So $2 is a major gamma war. Breaking could push serious upside momentum. So when you take a look at AMC right now and you see the suppression that's ongoing, you see why they're trying to constantly manipulate AMC below $2. You start to understand why. You start to see the potential there is for AMC right now and why AMC could easily see that gamma squeeze. And that's why we constantly see the use of dark pools, FTDs, and everything else to push AMC below. You can see here, for the first time in history, the majority of US stock trading occurs off exchange, where it's reaching a total of 50%. Now that is obviously a crazy amount, and the fact that it's only happened starting now should talk to you a lot about what people are worried about with the market volatility. But more importantly, despite the fact we're seeing the dark pool volume breaking records, it is still not near AMC, being at 71% just for one particular day. Remember, we've seen it go up to 80, 85, even 90% on days. So the fact that we are still almost double that of the 50%, which obviously then goes to 100%, it should talk to you about what's going on. It should tell you about the manipulation that we are constantly facing, and why we said at the very start that AMC should be a $2,000 stock. Now, furthermore, you can see the stock price is fake, but these Q2 numbers are very, very real. It kind of goes back to what we said earlier with how we know that AMC is undervalued, because we know that the stock price is fake. We know that we are faced with suppression. We've shown you the dark pools, we've shown you the FTDs, we've shown you everything. What we've also shown you is how are the box office doing and what that means for AMC. And just like what we've said with earlier, with the projected, with how we're currently doing, you can understand why AMC deserves to be even higher. And for a lot of AMC, you can see if AMC hits $42, I am a millionaire. And this just goes on along with a lot of apes as well. But it really just solidifies what we're saying and why we said that the shorts are worried and trying to do everything they can to prevent AMC from going up. It's because they've realized how much synthetics they have created and how much money they will have to give up when AMC squeezes. And that's why we've been in this long battle. But at the end of the day, the apes will become victorious. Also, what we're seeing right now is GME, where Ryan Cohen can now legally convert GameStop's derivative exposure into a 9% physical equity stake with full voting right. So right now, what we are able to see is that if eBay shareholders approve Proposal 4 on June 17th, reaching just 10% ownership will allow us to bypass the board entirely and directly petition shareholders for a vote on an acquisition. So GME is becoming one step closer to acquiring eBay, and that itself would be something very, very spectacular. And amidst all of this, you're seeing how brokers are now not even allowing people to short GME, where they're saying no inventory currently available. Now that speaks a lot of volume. That just kind of tells you about what's ongoing for GME right now, the whole situation. And when we talk about the GME buybacks, you can also expect to see volatility from there. And this is why we've said that GME is looking at that massive movement. Along with this, we're seeing this, where right now, Citadel recently talked about upsizing their loan. This is something we talked about in the past. Actually, Citadel has done the same thing, and both times it led to a major market recession. And so it looks like we're in that same moment, but this time it feels like that they are not able to get the same thing. And so we should be expecting some major volatility soon as well. And also, when we talk about kind of the trade settlement and when we talk about what happens to AMC, now this isn't to AMC, but this is the same problem that AMC faced. You start to see what's ongoing. You start to see the sort of the similar patterns for stocks that are manipulated. As always, none of this is financial advice, and I'll catch you guys next time.